What's up, fellas? Welcome to a brand new edition of the Caps Corner, Week 10 edition. I'm riding solo dolo in this one, but hey, that's all right. I figured it might be best, and that way you get only my take on the matter, which, hey, since I'm in first, that's all that matters right now. Great thing about this season, I must say, is that this has been, I think, probably the most competitive TFL season we've ever had on record. Nobody's way out in front of the pack. I wouldn't say nobody's in the bottom of the pack. Garrett. But altogether, man, it's tight, and especially right there in the middle, log jammed. It's a tight race. So like I was talking to somebody earlier, I think you're going to need to be 7-6 in order to make it to the playoffs. So hopefully after this week, we'll start to see a little separation in the standings. I really think it's going to take 7-6 to get into the playoffs. So like every week, let's just go ahead and we'll start, recap of last week, talk about standings, talk about projections, and then just get rolling, okay? So with that being said, me versus Dylan, first matchup. Dylan, boom, got your ass. So that was big time win for me. I won 134 to 105. Carr was solid for me. He had 37 points against Pittsburgh. Todd Gurley, bad week, really, in the grand scheme of things, and still got me 20. J Stu, 10, it's whatever. But Mike Evans and LaFell, 15 and 12 respectively. And D-Mac with 19 points. Dylan, for you, Phillip Rivers slightly underperformed. Lamar Miller, 27. Brandon Cooks, 13. But other than that, Odell only getting you 10. Stephon Diggs, 4. That just doesn't get the job done. So even though you had Chris Johnson, Arizona's D on a bye, just didn't have enough going for you, my man. So that drops you to 5-4, puts me at 7-2. Next game we had Bowda Butters against Vaginosaurus Rex. So Garrett, you already know what's coming. You screwed the pooch on this one, man. Kept Tyler Eifert on your bench. Big no-no. He's a beast. I mean, not arguably is he a top tight end, top 2-3 tight end behind Gronk. I mean, dude, he's a fantasy start. Every game, rest of the season. No doubt about it. So, Garrett, you don't start Eifert. You end up losing by 9 points. He certainly would have made a difference because Gates only got you 6. Butters, good news for you. Rodgers did well. Ingram just did okay and got 13. But 2 receivers, man, Amari and Hearns, 14 and 20 respectively. That's big time. The unfortunate thing for you, Butters, is Dion Lewis done for the season, dog. That's going to hurt, bro. You know it. I'm preaching to the choir. But, hey, man, you need running backs. Holla at your boy. That's all I'm going to say. Holla at your boy. If you want to run back, let's go. All right, I'm not going to tax you too hard. Holla at your boy. So, Butters, good win for you. That puts you at 5-4. Garrett, I'm just going to leave it at that. I love you, though, my man. I love you. 1-8, I feel you, dog. I had one of them seasons. It's tough. All right, you know what you do? You just drink up. All right, just chalk this one up and just let's move. Let's get rid of 2015. Let's move on to 2016 because that's about all you can do at this point. Third game, Pop against Casey. All right, so Casey boy, you got Pop 118 to 103. Casey altogether pretty solid, especially out of your running backs, DeMarco and Danny. Tyrod Taylor got you 22, and the Giants D got you 16. So 9-9 out of Martavius and Edelman, which is probably it's probably slightly lower than they were projected. So I think both of them will be fine down the home stretch. I mean, they'll continue to get those 15, 20-point games for sure. I think especially Martavius, even though Big Ben's out. Great news for you, Casey, is that even though Jeremy Hill's slightly underperforming, Danny Woodhead is solid as solid can be, dude. I mean, you're talking about a third down back, probably gets another 8 to 10 carries and gets all the red zone work. I'm talking about if you watch a Chargers game, as soon as they get inside the 20, Melvin Gordon doesn't touch the field. It's the Danny Woodhead show. So that bodes well because he finds the zone. Unfortunately for you, Pop, Eddie Lacy, man. That's what it all boils down to, dude. Literally in the past 4 games, he has a combined 12 points. Correct me in my math if I'm wrong, but that's 3 points a game. Just ain't getting the job done for a first-round pick. Alshon been balling out. Delaney had the big game last week. Jordan Matthews even did well, even though he had that late kind of lucky touchdown to a certain extent against Dallas. But all in all, Pop, Eddie Lacy, man. That right there is what killed you. So, Pop, unfortunately, man, can't get to 3 wins yet. But you're still above Garrett, so at least things could be worse. I know it doesn't seem like that, but things could be worse. All right. The fourth game. All right, let me just go ahead and just just soak in this matchup because I tell you, this matchup gave me so much joy. It's probably the most enjoyment I've had watching a match other than my own this entire season. And I'm going to tell you why. So for those of you who didn't know, okay, your boy Chris, the Jabronis, is down by 3 points going into the Monday night game with the Bears and the Chargers. Alex probably thought he was going to lose the game. However, Robbie Gould sucks. Noodle Leg misses 2 field goals and an extra point, and Chris loses by 2 points. Chris, I know you're pissed. I know you're devastated, but guess what, man? It just adds more humiliation on top of a week that's going to be capped again this Sunday when your ass is wearing that dress on the corner, drinking a 12-pack, bitch. So, Chris, it sucks, but that's what you get, all right? So with that being said, Chris, your team, besides Cam and besides Antonio, didn't do shit, okay? Demarius, 5 points. I know you had D-Hop on a bye, but still, man. Antonio Brown, 284 yards, the beast mode. Shitty thing for you is probably the last time you're going to see that all season. Big Ben done. Alex, for you, man, Devontae Freeman, 15. Antonio Andrews, 13. If Antonio Andrews keeps getting fed the ball, man, he could be a solid play for you. So, Alex, you get the win by 2 points, man. 5th game, all right? So, Norwood against Chuck, okay? Chuck, man, you got Norwood right here, man. This was a solid victory for you, man. Getting that win streak to 2. I feel you, Chuck. Good for you, man. Matt Ryan, 24. AP, 23. 20 out of Emmanuel. 13 out of Eric Decker. 12 out of Greg Olson. Just solid numbers across the board. Naughty, even though you had Marshawn on a bye, Tom, LaShawn couldn't do enough. Other than them two and Devontae Adams, everybody was in the single digits. Melvin Gordon still underperforming for you. Like I just said, doesn't get any touchdowns. Might get 60 yards, but that's just not enough in our league, especially for RB2. Good news for you is he's not your RB2, okay? And I'd probably roll with your 3 receivers and then Marshawn and Shady moving forward. Just my opinion. So, that right there, that moved the Chuck to 3 and 6, and Naughty, unfortunately, that dropped you to 4 and 5, my man. So, the final game, okay? Dino against SK. Dino, you was able to get the victory, 166 to 124. Solid performance out of you, the entire team. Doug was the only one that underperformed. The Red Rocket, 31. D'Angelo, 44. Man, I told you, be a top 5 back. I mean, as soon as Le'Veon goes down, it's basically interchangeable. So that works out really well for you. Randall Cobb, 20. Crabtree, 24. You're welcome again. For those of you who don't realize, Michael Crabtree is still relevant in the NFL, and he's actually kind of a good fantasy player. SK for you, Drew did well, 43. Problem, obviously, with CJ Spill getting you a damn goose egg, so that kills you. Jeremy Langford, 25, that's solid. Dez, 18, that's solid. But Gronk slightly underperformed. So as a whole, 124 points, SK. It's a good showing. It just wasn't enough, man. So SK, that drops you to 5 and 4. And then Dean, it boosts you up to 5 and 4. So, like I said, huge log jam. We'll talk about that here in a minute, a little bit more. I want to just go ahead and just jump into this week, okay? So, starting it off, I play SK, okay? Right now, I got a 7-0 lead behind the Jets D last night. Got me 7 points. Not too jacked about it. I wish they would have got me a little more against Buffalo. But it is what it is. Hoping that Derek Carr has a decent game against Minnesota. My main goal, my pine pony. Ty Gurley got to give me about 30 against Chicago, which I really think he can. Calvin, he's still a little banged up, even though coming off a bye, but hopefully he'll do his thing. And then for USK, you got Drew against Washington, Jeremy Langford against Seattle, Dez, Tampa. I think your 2 receivers are going to do well, even though Larry's playing Seattle. My big fear for you is that Gronk does not just have 30 points, which I'm praying he doesn't. You never know, though. I don't think the Giants are too strong against tight ends, so we shall see. But I got to go myself. You know that, man. I'm going to say I'm going to get you by 15, which is about what the projections had me. They had me projected by 14 points against you. The next game, little Meyer v. Meyer action, okay? I like it, all right? Battle of the Myers. So we got the Jabronis against Fear the Beard. Right now, Chris is actually projected to beat Dylan 112 to 106. However, I got to go with Dylan in this one. Even though he's riding with James Starks, I mean, Mike McCarthy named him the starter, so why not? I mean, shit, he plays for arguably one of the top offenses in the league. Even though he's still going to get a timeshare with Eddie Lacy, he gets the receptions, the third down work, and if he starts to get the early down work, I mean, if he gets 14, 15 carries, he's worth starting in my opinion. So Dylan, I think you got it. Chris Johnson coming back. Even though Chris, this is his full squad. I mean, Chris, this is your team. So we're going to see how your team, at their best, performs. So we shall see. I don't know. I don't believe in your running back. So even though Gio is playing Houston, should get a bunch of garbage time. I don't know, man. I'm gonna take Dylan in this one. So I think Dylan. I think you move to 6-4, man. So we shall see. So Chris, just gonna keep trending downward, my man. Third game. All right, Alex against Pop. So Alex is out to a solid 29-0 lead. He got 21 out of the Bills. He got 8 out of Brandon Marshall. That touchdown out of Brandon Marshall really kind of saved his day. Otherwise, he wasn't doing a whole ton in the game. And then the Bills played very well against the Jets. So they had a bunch of turnovers. Not a bunch. They maybe 2 or 3, but it still helps you a bunch. They got you 21 points. Pop, I'm sorry, my man. I wish I could go with you. I just can't, man. I got to take Alex in this one. Like I said, even though he's got Devontae Freeman on a bye, Latavius Murray is going to play, or at least all signs point to that. Antonio Andrews are going to continue to feed him, even though he plays Carolina. I just think somebody like Allen Robinson or A.J. Green is going to put you over the top. So, Pop, I mean, like I said, your 2 running backs, Eddie Lacy and Matt Jones, both split carry running backs. You know, even though you got decent receivers, Delaney Walker's doing well, lack of production from your running backs, getting 8-9 points a pop. That's just not enough to overcome it. So I like Alex, man. I like you to move to 7-3 right there. The fourth game, all right. I like it, man. We got Garrett versus Chuck. All right, it's a little tight after the Thursday night matchup. So Garrett is losing 13-14. Okay, Chuck got 14 out of Eric Decker, and Chris Ivory got Garrett 13. Chuck, I hope this doesn't jinx you, my man. Not that I'm going against Garrett, but Chuck, I think you got this one, man. Your team's just solid. You know, Garrett, you got a few touch matchups, which are Kendrick West against Denver, Peyton at Kansas or at home against Kansas City. I'm just not fired up about it because Chuck, you're starting Blake Bortles, man. I think it's a good start. He's quietly. Let me check right now. I know he's a top 10 quarterback. I just don't know his exact rankings. I don't know. They don't have it on here, but I'm almost positive he's a top 10 quarterback. So I think he's going to get you the points. Chuck, I like you to go 3 in a row, baby. So hopefully I didn't jinx you. But best of luck with that for sure, man. The fifth game. All right, fifth game. So we got Butters against Dino. All right. So Butters, you're up 5-0. All right, Charles Clay got you 5. Dino, you don't have nothing because nobody played yet. But Dean, I got to go with you in this one. I'm sorry, Butters. Didn't make any trades for your running backs. You're riding with Blue. We shall see. You got Blue and Nate Washington. Anytime you got 2 Houston players starting, unless it's D-Hop and anybody else, that's not a good sign. And you don't have D-Hop on this team. So, I don't know, Butters. Got to roll with Dino. This is his full squad, okay? Even though, let's see, I mean, he's got good matchups across the board, man. Cobb, Crabtree, real good matchups. Jordan Reed against the Saints. Yeah, Dino. I mean, you're projected to beat him by 20 points. I say Dean by 20 in this one. So, Dean, keep your streak going, man. Climbing up through the ashes and get you to 6-4. Finally, okay, last game of the matchup for this week. So Naughty against Casey Boy. So Naughty, you're up 21-0. Solid out of LaShawn McCoy, obviously, which is great. You know, Jets had a top-rated rush defense, and LaShawn did really well against them. Casey Boy, we'll see. You're rolling with the 2 tight end set, man. Ben Watson and Martellus Bennett. Hasn't really paid off for anybody else yet this year. I think the only person that's really ever done it maybe was Chuck. Maybe Garrett did it. But I like both of them. Martellus Bennett scored last week, even though he's playing St. Louis. Have a pretty decent pass defense. I think Ben's going to do well against the Redskins. I mean, arguably, you got to say, Ben Watson is really the Saints' top red zone tight end, or top red zone target, excuse me. So, that could bode well for you. But I'm going to go with Casey. I'm going to go with Naughty Boy in this one. So, Naughty, you're projected to win by 20. I think you get the dub, baby, which you need. You know it. I know it. That would get you to 5-5. And I'm going to say, Case, you drop to 6-4. So, that's the projections, okay? Talk about some other few little things. Chuck, you picked up Sean Drone. I think that was actually a smart pickup. He seems to be the guy in San Fran. Their offense is still terrible, but hell, he could definitely be a flex play for you. I added James White. Why the hell not? If he gets 80% of what Dion Lewis did, then hell, he's flex worthy in my opinion. And I'll look to trade him to one of you said motherfuckers. So that was my thinking behind that. My man Chuck, 2-game winning streak, baby. You know, that's awesome. And then finally, Chris on the corner this weekend. Finally. 12 beers. It's going to be awesome. Bring your lawn chair. Bring your cameras. Anybody wants to be there, we'll see you at Chuck's at 11. Good luck to everybody this weekend. Holla at you.